director for PhD agency. I've been in the financial sector for the better part of 5 years. So, muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Mateo Ferelli. Soy un director de mercadeo para PHP. Tener 5 años en la industria de finanzas. Y hoy en día, obviamente, nuestra presentación es compartir poquito qué está pasando. Yo sé muchos están preocupado por nuestra economía, preocupado por qué está pasando en la bolsa de valores, por todos ustedes que tener un plan de retiro y más por todos ustedes que tener niños, cómo puedes orar por su futuro. So I'm here to present, obviously, because many of you may have some insecurities of what's going on in the market, what's going on with our economy. And then obviously, as part of Edison, a lot of you guys may be worried about how I can save for my children's future. So if I get right into my presentation, I'm going to scroll down here. Sorry. There we go. All right. So today's realities. I'm going to really kind of do a full circle on what today's realities are. First one that's contributing to the downtrodden of our economy is obviously the alarming debt as a whole across the country. First part, if you just look at student loan debt, we're about 1.5 trillion in student loan debt, about 900 billion in credit card debt. The second is unfortunately our failing Social Security. It is estimated by SSA.gov, which is our Social Security Administration, that by 2034, Social Security will be depleted. Very, very scary for a lot of people that here in the future plan on Social Security being their retirement. Next, there are no such thing almost anymore as pension funds, very few and far between. So we have depleting pension funds. There were roughly 149,600 defined benefit plans in 1982. Today alone, that number is only 37,000. What does that mean? Pensions have dispersed and been replaced by things called 401ks, 403bs, and many people don't know exactly how those work, what they do, and what their purpose is. The next one is insufficient insurance protection. It's a law to have insurance for your car, but it's no longer a law to have insurance for your life. 41% of our country have no life insurance, roughly 95 million Americans. And that's from 2018 limmer, so it might be different today in 2021. All of this is related back to why we're here today, which is because of the disturbing lack of financial education. 60 to 70% of affluent US consumers do not have a financial plan in place. Current planning approaches lacks the steps to achieve your long-term goals. ¿Qué significa todo esto en español? El primero, la cantidad de ayudas de nuestro país ahorita en préstamos estudiantiles es más de 1.5 trillones de dólares. En tarjetas de crédito, más de 900 billones de dólares. También nuestro Social Seguridad. Ellos están diciendo que en año 2034 no vas a existir el Social Seguridad. Vas a usar todo el dinero que están en este fondo, que es muy peligroso porque mucha gente está pendiente en el Social Seguridad para su jubilación. El tercero es el protección de seguro de vida es insuficiente. Más de 41% de adultos no tienen ni seguro de vida. That's más de 95 millones de personas en Estados Unidos. Más, si está trabajando ahorita, no existen pensiones. En las 80s hay más. En las 80s hay más de 149,600 planes de retiro existen en todos los trabajos que tenemos. Ahorita fue reemplazados por planes se llama 401k, 403b, etc. Y en todos Estados Unidos solo hay 37,000 pensiones que existen todavía. Y la razón por todo que está pasando realmente es porque la falta de educación financiera. Es el falta de educación. Más del 70% de adultos en todos los Estados Unidos no tener un plan ni el conocimiento de tipos de planes que para preparar por su futuro. Entonces, vamos a ver la estadística en nuestro país. y vas a ver cómo está construido. So I'm about to share with all of you kind of how the imbalance has happened. Oh, sorry about that. How the imbalance has happened in our country. And the reason is because debt has become very easy to acquire. That's the first part. It's not that people want to get into debt. Debt has been very easy to acquire. They will give a credit card to an 18-year-old right out of high school very, very easily as soon as he applies. But they won't teach him how to responsibly use that credit card. So 90% of America is in the largest portion of our debt, very little retirement, and almost no insurance. That's usually typically families between 0 to 99,000 a year. And it comes down to two things: education and how they budget their money. Most of them have a bank, a savings account, a CD. That's their idea. They're comfortable with the bank. The problem is banks typically will only return 0 to 3% interest. What does that mean? Your money's not making you money. You put it in a bank, it's safe there, you know it's there, but it's not making you money. And then usually they're still renting, and at age 65, they're not in a financial position to retire, okay? This is why our whole point goes back to education. Because if you look at the 10% of America, that's usually in the $100,000 a year bracket or more, they have very little debt, a responsible retirement, but most of their money is into insurance. Why? Because insurance has guarantees, and they know that why they won't become rich overnight in insurance, they have some guarantees. Most of them have some small investments, whether that be in mutual funds, they own a home, they have insurance, because typically those will pay between 4 to 12% interest, meaning now their money is making money for them. Most of them are homeowners, and at age 65, they're in a position to have enough assets to retire. So en español, está comparando 90% de nuestro país con el otro 10%. 90% de nuestro país en el área de 0 a $99,000 al año en ganancia en su trabajo o su carrera. Tener mucho de ayuda, muy poquito retiro y mucho menos seguro. Y por esta razón, normalmente su dinero, sus inversiones están en bancos, en su cuenta de ahorros, una CD, y normalmente las intereses son 0 a 3%. Significa que normalmente ellos están todavía rentando una casa, no son dueños de su propia propiedad, y a la edad de 65 años todavía está trabajando porque no tener suficiente dinero para jubilarse. El otro 10% que están en alrededor de 100,000 o más, tener pocos de ayudas, una buena cantidad en un plan de retiro, y la mayoría de su dinero en seguros. ¿Por qué? Well, si miran aquí, una inversión en un seguro de vida, plan de estudios para sus hijos, cualquier seguro está usando, normalmente los intereses están dentro de 4 o 12%. Significa que su dinero está trabajando por ti. Y a su edad de 65 ya están listos de jubilarse, normalmente son dueños de casa. Y estas son las realidades de nuestra economía, más ahorita que antes. Pero en esos tiempos de economía, la bolsa de valores está bajando, tener dificultades en el área de labor. Esta es la reflexión de dónde está el dinero de la mayoría de la gente que está preparado porque tener un plan financiero hecho. So what I was saying in English is, right now in our economy, this is the reason why a lot of people are looking at financial solutions. There's the uncertainty of the job market. There is currently the unsafety of the stock market. So many people are concerned, where can I put a little bit of money to make sure that I have something for my future when our economy is going in 7 different directions? So we want to make sure that we become the educators for that. And we've talked to Dr. Lee. We think that she really wants to make sure that you guys have this education and a tool available to make some decisions, and we want to help partner with that. So aquí yo prepararon en español poquito de qué es compound intereses, que muchos no entendí qué es intereses, cómo sirven, por qué 4 o 8% es mejor para mí. So En este dibujo, nosotros estamos enseñando, si usted ahorrar $250 al mes y este dinero gana 0, 4 o 8%, ¿cuánto dinero vas a tener en el próximo 10, 20, 30 o 40 años? ¿Ok? So, si tú ahorras $250 per mes por 10 años con 0 interés, vas a tener $30,000. Pero con 4 interés en 10 años vas a tener 37,459. So vas a ahorrar $7,000 con intereses compuestos en 10 años. Pero si con 8% es 46,936. ¿Por qué eso está importante? Si usted está ahorrando por tu futuro y está invirtiendo $250 al mes, ¿cuánto dinero vas a tener si yo invertir por 10, 20, 30 o 40 años? Piensa si tú enseñar a su hijo o un joven antes de 20 años y él sabe ahorrar dinero y tú dar el 8% de interés en una cuenta por 40 años, vas a tener casi $839,343. So realmente está enseñando ellos con un poco de inversión, $250 por muchos está diciendo es mucho, pero hay veces con 100, 50, $30, tú puedes ahorrar en un producto que vas a pagar 8% de intereses y tener una buena cantidad ahorrado. Y este dinero vas a apoyar a usted si quieres jubilar a 65 años de edad. So what I was explaining in Spanish is this is a picture of compound interest and how it works. And it shows what would happen if you were to put away $250 a month for 10, 20, 30, or 40 years. And it shows you typically what would happen if you put it in a bank account at 0% interest, maybe in a CD, if you can find a bank that'll pay you 4%, but there's some that do 3.5, right? And then what would happen in an insurance product, something that pays 8% interest? Well, if you did it for 10 years, every month putting away $250, in a product with 0% interest, it'd be $30,000. In a product with 8% interest, you'd have over $46,000. Why is this important? Because if you teach someone when they're young, 18, 20, and they have 40 years to save money, and they understand that if I put away $250 every single month, by the time 40 years is up, when I hit 60, I'll have close to $1 million, $839,000. And that is apart from any retirement plan at their job. That is apart from any college savings that they may have put away. This is just them utilizing a tool of compound interest to have a good amount of money in their future. Many of you who probably listened to maybe YouTube or gone on, we talk about the high cost of waiting. Why is it important to teach our kids young to put money away and save money? Well, when do most people talk about retirement? Typically in their early 50s, right? Their early 50s are like, okay, well, I got about 10, 15 years. I better start thinking about something, put something away, okay? Well, if you need, and if you live in San Diego, you will need, if you need $1 million in retirement, that's just a reality because it's what you're going to live off of. And let's assume that you have an 8% return on whatever product you're doing. If you wait till you're 50, it's going to cost you $13,609 a month to reach your $1 million retirement goal. Now, I don't know too many people at 50 years old that can afford $13,000 a month. Not too many. Let's say I start talking about it in my 40s. I'm married, I have kids, sit down with my wife. I want to talk about it in my 40s. Well, if I wait till I'm 40 and I only have 20 years till retirement, it's going to cost me $1,647 a month to reach my $1 million retirement goal at 8%. If I wait until I'm in my 30s, it's going to cost me $670. But if I start when I have 40 years to retirement and my goal is to hit $1 million and I'm getting a guaranteed 8% return, it's $286 a month. How many of you would believe that it only costs $286 a month to be a millionaire if you do it over a 40-year period? que está explicando en inglés a todos es el costo de esperar de ahorrar o enseñar a la gente cómo ahorrar. Si, por ejemplo, yo quiero $1,000,000 para jubilarme y pienso que yo está usando un seguro para un regreso de 8% garantizado en intereses. Normalmente nosotros empezar de hablar de jubilar en nuestros 50. So, si nosotros esperan hasta nosotros tener 50 años de edad de empezar de ahorrar para nuestra jubilación y quiere $1,000,000, porque si vives en San Diego vas a ocupar $1,000,000, vas a costar usted $13,600 el mes para ahorrar. Yo tener muchos años en esta empresa y jamás conoces una familia en sus 50 que puedes ahorrar $13,000 al mes. Vamos a hacer en nuestros 40, ya está casado, tener casa, vas a sentar con mi esposa y platicar de jubilación y tener 20 años, son en mis 40. Si yo quiero lograr $1,000,000 con 8% de interés, yo necesito ahorrar $1,647 al mes. Este es un gran pago, este es 2 carros casi. Entonces, si yo espero hasta yo tener 30 años y tener 30 años para jubilarme, solo necesita ahorrar $670 al mes para lograr $1,000,000. Pero si yo enseñar a mis hijos jóvenes de pasar en sus 20, donde ellos tener 40 años para ahorrar, solo es $286 al mes para su hijo o su hija ser un millonario en 40 años. No, muchos quieren ser millonarios mucho más antes, pero estás haciendo aparte de su plan de retiro, aparte de otras inversiones. Este solo es un seguro que está ahorrando dinero. So, what types of products and services are out there for you guys, and what do we specialize in at PHP, and what are we educating people on? So the first one obviously is life insurance. So we work in every aspect of that life insurance, whether it be term or return of premium, a universal life, index universal life, guaranteed universal life, and final expense. Basically, term life insurance, permanent life insurance, and final expense insurance. We also work in fixed and indexed annuities. So 401k rollovers, we do IRAs, Roth IRA rollovers. What I really wanted to focus on that most people don't know about is, as of 2009, most carriers, not all, carry something called living benefits. These living benefits are free riders in your policy. And why are they so important? Well, I just took a study at UCSD. If you went to UCSD and you were in the ICU with COVID during the COVID crisis, and you had to be on a respirator, when you got out of the ICU, your bill was $63,386. That's the ICU bill. If your medical insurance covered you for 85% and they paid it, excuse me, that leaves you with an $11,000 bill, meaning they paid their 85 and you're left with the rest. In our economy, most families cannot afford $11,000. But because COVID is considered a critical illness, guess who will pay that $11,000? Your life insurance company, out of a living benefit. So most people have the misconception that a life insurance product is only to protect you if you die. That's not the case. A life insurance product is there to grow money for you, give you access to that money, and help you when you have a chronic, critical, terminal illness or require long-term care. So, ¿qué está diciendo en inglés? Es nuestros servicios aquí en PHP están en el área de seguros de vida. Seguro de vida de término, seguro de vida de un término reembolsable, un permanente, un gasto final. So, nosotros trabajan en todas estas áreas. También apoyan a la gente, mueven su 401k cuando ellos están listos, o establecer un IRA o mover un IRA de un otro IRA. La parte me encanta de este negocio es muchos tener el misconcepción que un seguro de vida es solo dinero como mueres, que no es correcto. Un seguro de vida puedes apoyar a usted a ahorrar dinero, puedes dar a usted acceso de dinero y puedes dar a usted dinero si tú ocupas como está mejor de edad y necesita alguien que cuidarte. Pero como está practicando en inglés y compartiendo es, dentro del COVID, si usted ir al hospital con COVID en el UCSD Medical Center y están en el ICU, el cuidado intensivo, por 14 días, como sales, su bill de la hospital fue $63,386. Entonces, si este es su bill y su seguro de salud pagar 85%, usted va a tener un gasto de casi $11,000. Y ahorita en nuestra economía, familias no tener $11,000 para pagar un hospital. No es algo lógico. Pero si tener un seguro de vida, porque COVID está considerado una enfermedad critical, tu seguro de vida puedes pagar todo el resto del gasto. Y este es muy importante para saber. So why do I want to share this with everybody and why do I think it's so important? Because we work with 25 different companies. So I don't represent, and PHP does not represent one company. Why is that important to you as a family? Because you have options. And really the reality is people want to know what those options are and how they work. And that's exactly what we do. We want to show you how the term and permanent insurance works, what may fit for your family, what your financial goals may be, and if at all, give you a little bit of clarity on what they are for and how they are used. We also have a couple other services, which is our debt solution service for people who kind of want to learn how to manage their debt. The best part, and why I'm sure Dr. Lee was so happy to have us here today, is that we charge $0 to help our client. We charge nothing to sit down with your family and figure out what financial plan is best for you guys and what you can afford to put away a month, or college plan for the kids a month, or put some insurance away a month, or how do I build my retirement here in the future. Que está explicando en inglés es, nosotros aquí en PHP no trabajan por una sola compañía. Nosotros representar 25 diferentes compañías como National Life Group, AIG, American National. ¿Por qué está muy curada? La razón es, nosotros no necesitamos trabajar por la compañía, nosotros podemos apoyar a nuestro cliente en enseñar la diferencia dentro de un term, en un seguro de término o una permanente, o sentar con una familia y hablar de un plan de ahorrar, cómo manejar nuestro dinero en nuestro favor, cómo planear por los estudios de mi hijo en el futuro. Muchos de ustedes en Edison tener hijos en elementary, entonces tener mucho tiempo en poner poquito mes al mes para ahorrar por su futuro. Más nosotros tener un otro servicio como el aviso de deudas. Este es muy bueno si tú quieres saber cómo manejar deudas, tarjetas de crédito, préstamos, etc. La buena parte es nosotros no cobran ningún centavo para apoyar ninguna familia. Nuestro propósito es sentar con usted, educar a ustedes en qué está afuera, qué planes hay, cómo trabajan con estos planes, qué es mejor para mí y mi familia bajo mis gastos mensuales. So very, very important. This is just a graph to show you a little bit. I prepared this just to show you a little bit about what's happening in our market. So if you look, the red line is the variable market right now. As you can see in the variable market, we are in the dip section. So we're in this section. We anticipate that at some point it will go up, right? But we want to show everybody here, this is what our economy did. We had a peak and now we're dropping. Do we know where this bottom is going to be? Probably not. So this is why a lot of people are moving their money into cash in their bank. But if you look at putting cash in your bank over a long period of time, you're not making a lot of money. You're not going to save a lot. Now, if you look at putting it in an index account, whether that be an annuity or whether that be life insurance, you can see that the money grew when the market was good. When the market went bad, yeah, you didn't make any money, but guess what? You didn't lose any money either. And as the market continued to grow, you still participate in the gains. Okay. So I put this chart out because a lot of people are looking at the news and watching the market right now, and they don't understand what all that means. They just know that it's numbers and red is bad and blue and green are good, right? So I want to kind of put in perspective what that means. So en español, aquí yo has preparado poquito que está pasando en el mercado ahorita. Si tú miras en línea rojo, este es que está pasando ahora en el mercado. Está mirando un bajada al abajo del mercado y nosotros no sabes cuánto más vas a bajar el mercado. So muchos están poniendo su dinero en el azul, que es fijo, es en su banco o algo que no tener pérdida. Pero tú miran en largo plazo, no vas a ahorrar mucho dinero, es muy poco. Pero en un cuenta como verde, indexado en un seguro de vida, un plan de retiro fijo, aquí vas a mirar que tener el crecimiento del mercado, como baja en el mercado, no ganas, pero tampoco pierdes. Y como mejorar el mercado, vas a tener ganancia otra vez. So I just wanted to share that because a lot of people want to know what that example means. Yo quiero compartir porque muchos están mirando la marca mercado y solo están mirando números de rojo, verde y ni sabes qué está hablando. So este es poquito perspectivo en qué está pasando en nuestro mercado. The reality at the end of the day, guys, that I really want to get into is there's 3 life-changing events that every American will have. Almost every person in the world will have. If, for God forbid, you pass away, there's going to be a need for death benefit. There's going to be a need to have financial reimplacement or a word called indemnity, where you can make your economic situation the same in result of a loss. 2, you'll need a living benefit if something, God forbid, happens to you. Living benefits are great because the reality is we're going to get old. Right? Life insurance does not insure your life. You are at some point going to get old and pass away. But if I get older and my body starts to break down, my costs begin to increase. I may need transportation costs. I may need somebody to take care of me. Where do those costs come from? So that is another advantage of having living benefits in a policy. And last but not least, living a long life, guys, is a good thing. But I'm still going to need an income. Nobody wants to be looking for a job at 88 years old because you ran out of retirement funds, right, doctor? Nobody wants to have that happen. So these are 3 life-changing events that are all prepared for underneath some type of insurance product or a annuity product. So me voy a compartir en español. En toda la gente en Estados Unidos y en el mundo verdaderamente, hay 3 eventos en su vida que vas a cambiar cosas económicos muy drásticos. Primero, si tú mueres, necesitan un beneficio de vida. Necesita este beneficio para apoyar a la familia económicamente por la pérdida de un ingreso o más para pagar los costos de un funeral. El segundo, nosotros vas a crecer y en tiempo cuando nosotros está más grande, nuestro cuerpo no va a parar la mismo. Entonces hay veces mis costos vas a subir en mi edad porque ocupan transporte, medicinas, cuidado. Entonces necesita un beneficio en vida donde no vas a tomar todo el dinero de sus ahorros. Y la última es vivir un largo vida. Vivir un largo vida está excelente, pero el problema es si vivir un largo vida vas a ocupar dinero. Y si ocupan ese dinero, nadie quiere buscar un trabajo a 88 años de edad. Pero si tener una anualidad o un producto de seguro con acceso de dinero, vas a tener otra opción de ingreso. So, doctor, that's pretty much what I had prepared for everybody. I know that we have Guillermina on campus. I don't know if everybody knows Miss Rice, but she's one of the representatives for our company. If you guys are interested in looking at any of these, I'm sure you can go through her or Dr. Lee, who has our contact information. Que está explicando es allá en Edison tener alguien que trabaja con nosotros, se llama Guillermina Rice. Si usted está interesada, puedes hablar con Guillermina, ella tener toda nuestra información de contacto. Y honestamente, gracias, Dr. Lee, para tener nosotros aquí con estas familias a partir poquito que hacemos nosotros. In English, I was thanking Dr. Lee for having us here today so that we could share a little bit about what we do. And we look forward to helping Edison families learn, grow, and maybe put something away for their future so that they can feel a little bit more secure about what's going on in our economy today.
That's right. Thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate you giving the presentation. I think a lot of that information is just so important as we watch, like you said, the stock market and our general economy and the inflation. So I appreciate you sharing that kind of information with our families. And of course, this is being recorded. So those that are here got to hear it, great. And then I'm going to share it out with everybody else. Just to clarify, Guillermina works at Central, which Central Elementary, but she is one of our Hoover Cluster Wellness coordinators.
Okay.
And so, yep. So she, when we have every time on Class Dojo, I'll share our Hoover Cluster meetings. She comes to those meetings. So we can definitely get the information out for anybody who is interested. I see there's a thank you in the chat. Yes.
Awesome.
It's just, I think, the thing that's important to me, I think I've been learning a lot about what's going on in the market personally, and I know it impacts our families. It impacts every family. So I want to make sure that our families have a very good, I guess, jumping off into summer and, planning your summers and looking at employment and planning for saving for college. Even now, we look at those costs, because if you do it now, you're going to have a lot more money in the bank and you won't have to have paid as much. Right.
It creates the habit, Dr. Lee. So vas a crear un hábito en orar y enseñar sus hijos un hábito de orar que es muy importante. It's the part that's most important. And the best part is we don't charge to teach families about this. A lot of people have the misconception that, hey, if I want to learn or sit down with somebody like this, they're going to charge me for that. We don't want to charge anybody. We really want to reach out to families and we want to show you how to do it. If they end up putting something in place, then obviously we're compensated. But we want to make sure that everybody knows the reality is creating the habit when they're young. Obviously, you instill good values when they're young. When they're older, it makes all the difference. 100%.
Very good. Even if, and I know I was saying this, even if it's $5 a month, if you put into like a college, and I know you didn't talk about it here, but like a 529 is a tax free, basically it's or taxed. I don't think you're taxed when you take it out, if it goes right to tuition.
If it only could go to tuition, but 529 plans do give you access for other things like books, materials, supplies, all that kind of stuff. But that's taxed. Yeah.
So it's growing without taxes along the way. So, it could be like, again, $5 a month starting at age 6, right? You could have enough money to pay college tuition by the time they're 18. Yes. Right. So it's like even just a little bit now and thinking ahead. So anyways,
without having your kid go into $100,000 in debt.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. No one wants that.
It's been a blessing, Dr. Lee. I appreciate it. Edison families, God bless you.
Yes.
Have an amazing, amazing morning.
Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it. Okay. Bye-bye.